T.
Oops, better press OK.
Alrighty. So if you guys have the notes up, taking your own, feel free, whatever. Introduction.
Yes.
Introduction isn't necessarily always full of wisdom and knowledge, but the introduction in here had some fire right off the back. So
Um,
any points you guys want to touch on?
The introduction was where he was getting chased by the police and almost getting shot up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it jumps right into.
Okay. Let me see where.
Entrepreneurs get stuck in burnout, that we shouldn't be trading our time for money, and that we should be implementing systems into our business to be able to have more freedom away from our business, so that way we're not working a job inside of our business. I think that's what he was talking about at the very beginning. Like, he kind of prefaces like that for the rest of the book. But
I love what he said, and this is something even yesterday, better entrepreneurs, a better father, a better husband, and a better friend. And your entrepreneurship isn't just about you, it's about literally everybody, your family, your community, your team, like it's literally your gift, and it's like it's our opportunity as entrepreneurs. Like we have the beautiful, like we're granted this opportunity to take on like this radical responsibility. And you can be like, oh yeah, it just makes me some money, whatever. But like when you really step into it and fully embody it, one, I think that's when the real transformation comes. And two, like that is our opportunity to embody our manhood. Like a lot of the stuff we talked about yesterday, like it is a sheer opportunity to, emphasize who you are to the world in multiple capacities. So I right off the bat, I was just resonating with his philosophy around what entrepreneurship really means. So I think oftentimes it just gets wrapped in like, oh, I own a business, make some money. And, he really talks about it and being this way, like intertwined in your DNA and like who you are as a person. So right off the bat, loved it.
yeah.
Anything else you guys connected with?
Kind of just goes back to that, like, your business is a reflection of yourself, which I think is something that we've talked about too in the group.
Something he talks about is the correlation of time and expanding your business. And he goes on to say it later, but like as the founder, the CEO, the owner of the business, like your time is literally the most valuable thing to your business. And to grow your business, you have to buy back your time and redeposit it. And really hammers it in like this. That is the way. There is no other way. Like that is the way to do it. It was definitely a paradigm shift for myself.
Right. I like the part specifically where he says, growing a business, you don't grow to hate. Because I could certainly relate to that. Because it's just like you'll keep growing your business until you have so many tasks you got to do, running all over the place, right? And you're doing the things that aren't bringing you energy, and you're kind of just dreading, like, oh, I don't want to walk into the office today. I just got all this stuff I don't like doing lined up waiting for me. So at every opportunity you see, you're kind of like, oh shit, well now I'm just gonna have to do more of the stuff I don't like. So
Yeah. Or also, whenever we go into business, like, he uses the example of like baking cookies, right? Like you started like baking
Yes.
cookies because like you like baking cookies, but then like next thing you know, like you're not baking cookies and
Yep.
you're managing and you're doing payroll and you're making the supply grabs, and now next thing you know you're making more money, and but you don't have as much time and you're running around all over the place and you're not even doing what it is that you love to do.
Which is baking cookies.
Yeah.
Just baking cookies.
Which is funny. I think Max actually used that analogy like a couple of months ago in the group about something.
Yeah, I love this book. I am completely buying into this book and promoting it in any
Mm,
capacity I can.
Yeah,
nice.
so far from what I've read, this book's spot on what you should do in a business.
Yeah.
What is the biggest level of integration you guys have had so far? Max, I know you've gone LM, but Trevor, Logan, I'd love to hear, and Max, you too. I'm not saying don't share, but
Something that I'm looking to integrate or something that I've already integrated?
well, you've already integrated something that shifted in your day-to-day actions already.
Something that something that I've
Uh,
already integrated from the book, you mean?
yes, I wanna share something.
Yeah.
Uh, there's a thing in the book where it talks about being a transactional leader versus transformational.
Mm,
And that really got to the heart of the matter for me because a transactional leader will just treat, the interaction with his employees as a transaction, like, hey, you do this, hey, you do that. You got to do it this way because I did it this way for 20 years, and you got to do it the exact same way. That's
mm,
transactional leadership. Transformational leadership is opening the door to let the employee do their job, the best way they know how to do it, which is basically just saying like, hey, I want this outcome. The way you do it, right, can be a different path, and all of a sudden that it's just like encouraging more transformational leadership. You're encouraging them to be the best version of themselves, not just the version you are putting them in there like the little tiny box that you've made for
yeah.
them.
And I think
Ye-
along those lines too, it talks about how you're the only person that'll ever like put 100% like into your business.
Yeah.
Um and being okay with that. And even if your employee only puts in like 80%, that's still like 80% that you didn't like do, that you
Have
didn't have
to
to
do
like
it.
put in, and like 80% is still like fucking awesome, you know? And so like being okay with that and not like hyper fixating on the fact that they're not as driven to put 100% into your business like you are.
Right? I like the part where he says, you're, as the founder, you're like the best salesman for your business. And he's like, well, that's one of the last buyback things you should do because you're like, it's your business, honestly. You naturally want to sell it.
Yeah, unless you're not a salesman.
Mhm.
So Max, what was your, so you mentioned not like shifting out of transactional. So how is that showing up for you?
All right, so how's this showing up? I sat down with my assistant RV park manager, um, gal, and I just started making a list. And you're like, hey, these are the outcomes I really want. And I didn't list any tools or procedures or techniques or anything. I was like, well, these are the things that I want to do, right? And as long as we're accomplishing these things, I'm very happy.
Mm,
Like having 5-star reviews in Airbnb. There's nothing, like there's like a big void right there, like in how you can accomplish that. Um, Another thing is uh, reminding people of rules, right? And yeah, and my RV park assistant was like, how about we make a newsletter? And I was like, oh, that's a great idea. Make a newsletter. So we made one together, and so it's just an example of how we branched out from my original thinking.
Nice.
Nice. Did you enable her to use ChatGPT, or is she coming up with it from scratch? Or
Uh, she's still getting the research part down. I still have to kind of like get her going in the research side, and it's just kind of like showing her like examples of things and templates and uh and using Google, right? She doesn't really know how to do all that stuff, it's just still have the training wheels on her in that capacity. But you're
Cool.
right. I'm gonna show her some more tools like, AI chats.
Cool.
Trevor, Logan, what about you guys?
Um, I'd say for me the big one would just be like the time audit, but like that's like part of like what we're doing like for the group. Or as far as like the only integration I've done, but I have a bajillion thoughts inside my head about how I can um eventually start delegating other tasks off to virtual assistants or
Awesome.
For me, I'd say, if I'm being like completely honest, I don't know if I've really integrated anything just yet, but I've really been thinking over what I've been reading and just how he keeps reiterating, buying back your time. So I'll probably be looking for, or I guess I will be looking for, um, I guess employees to take care of my, work that I send out for like jobs on moving/assembly jobs. There are those two limiting beliefs. I don't know if it was chapter 1 or 2 that it was talking about, that was like either no one does it right or I can't afford it. And those are like two of the most prominent things that always come up because I'm very particular about getting everything done right and my way to make sure nothing goes wrong. So for me to be able to have to trust someone else is definitely a big sacrifice, but it's gonna buy me back more of my time. So I definitely gonna have to be integrating that.
mm,
Yeah.
Right? It does. I don't think it has to even be having an employee. Like the author mentioned in himself that he started buying back his time by simply not doing his laundry because he was spending like hours at the laundromat, and he's like, "Oh shit, I could be spending all this time growing my business, and I could be
Yeah.
paying somebody, I could be paying somebody else to do my dry cleaning." You
Uh-huh.
know, it's just one of the examples. Like for me, like I would spend like 5 or 6 hours, detailing my car on like a Saturday or Sunday. So I decided to switch it up. I took a note from Dan's playbook, and I got my car detailed. And while the detail team was like a dozen guys, they did it like in an hour. Um, and while they were doing that, I was able to catch up on calls, partner check-ins. I was able to call and text people that I don't normally call and text, and I was able to head straight off to work. And I spent like those 4 hours working on the computer rather than detailing my car. So
mm.
that's just like a very real example of how I bought back my time. And
Yeah,
it's
for
not
sure.
necessarily like the most, oh, I had to get an employee for that.
Well, in my case, it kind of needs an employee because I have like most of my time is being taken from, being on the job and doing the jobs in person myself. So I feel like if I had someone else doing those jobs, I could, use my time for advertising, social media, or, getting more jobs for those employees/contractors, if that makes sense.
Nice, brother.
Thank you guys for sharing.
Sir.
Let's jump into chapter 1, how I buy back my life.
This
First,
guy shares my last name, Stuart.
first thing right off the back he said was I was kind of, I mean, I guess now that I've seen it multiple times since I've looked through my notes, read them and that, but entrepreneurs are much more likely to develop depression, ADHD, substance abuse, and bipolar disorder.
Uh,
I feel like it's just like a really, for lack of a better word, double-edged sword. It can be like one of the most beautiful, empowering journeys there is, but it could also like destroy you as well if you're not cut out for it. You're not doing it in ways that are serving you and sustainable. And yeah, I feel like it could definitely go both ways. So it's kind of crazy to just open that chapter and read into that.
Mm.
Nice.
Yeah, he said something about uh, white powder or how entrepreneurs, yeah, fall into the looking for escapism, and how escapism can even be like working in your business. And we'll end up 50-year-olds with panic attacks and not knowing how to regulate and just spend our entire life stressed out. But we have a business that makes us $1 million.
Yep.
You know?
That's good.
Is it? Is it if you have panic attacks and you're at Disneyland with your kids?
At least as long as you're making money.
Yeah.
Nah, definitely not. Not a
Right.
not a preferred way of living.
I like how the author actually named them and called them the five assassins.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom had a client recently who was in his 40s who just passed away from a heart attack. He was the highest Cutco like sales rep.
Mhm.
Like he
Is that where
started
your mom
selling.
works?
Huh?
Mom works for Coco?
No, she works with this guy.
Okay.
My mom has a couple businesses, but my mom works with casinos, and she'll do like the prizes that you get whenever you're like a member, and she sells like wholesale those items to the casino, and sometimes she'd want to get like the casino Cutco stuff, so she'd work with this guy, and this guy started selling Cutco to big corporations before selling Cutco to corporations was a thing. So like he got in like early, and like he was like the top Cutco sales guy, like millions of dollars. Super heavily involved in his church, super heavily involved in his family life. Um,
Hmm.
and but he passed away at 40 years old from a heart attack while he was on vacation with his family.
Mhm.
He'd ice bath.
While he was on vacation,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he did red light therapy, saunas, ice baths, would work out, like ate healthy, like check marked like all the boxes to try and work 24/7 and like make it sustainable. Um, but yeah, so like kind of like for me, it's like it doesn't matter like how much somatic breathwork experiences you go to. It doesn't matter how much ice bath or sauna or red light therapy or yoga classes like you go to. If you're still just like working 24/7 and stressing and putting yourself like through that, then eventually it's going to be too much on your body.
Is that what the doctor said, that it was due to stress
Yeah.
and overworking?
I don't know about
Yeah.
overworking, but he had a heart attack.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy. That just goes to show you can't take advantage of your life at all.
Mhm.
So going
40
back
years
to the
old is so
book,
young.
that same thing almost happened to this guy here in the first chapter.
Yeah,
He's like,
which
"Am I
yeah, which
having a heart
yeah,
attack? The happiest
mhm,
place on earth?"
yeah,
Mhm.
That's crazy.
That's pretty crazy. Wow.
This was,
Something that oh
I was,
go ahead, Logan.
yeah,
okay, I was
go
gonna say
Logan.
something that popped up at me was the where he mentioned the systems over goals. And I know I see this like time and time again, having systems preferred over just having goals. And sometimes it just goes to show that like I'm setting all these goals, but sometimes I'm not integrating like systems that are gonna put me in a
mhm,
position to reach those goals. So it's just like a friendly reminder just to make sure you're implementing your daily or weekly systems to reach those like, actual goals.
yeah,
100%. And that's been my, I feel, um, and Trevor's been supporting me in this with my furniture assembly is like setting up systems that can be followed. And so after reading through some of this stuff, it's like, okay, let me go back and systemize so something can be rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. Not perfect, but like just starting to adopt that. And then also that kind of affected, with our call yesterday, which I think Max, Logan, I think you guys were off before we jumped into it, but kind of just getting clear on like what our daily, weekly, monthly responsibilities are. And that in itself is a system to go through these things and like, okay, I routinely do this thing every day and this thing every week and this thing every month. Like we have a system where we digest a book every single month and we dive into it on a deep dive twice a month. And we have a system where we check in with the partner and we set priorities and we do these things. So like these are all systems that are layers of accountability to help you fall to. Because otherwise, like you said, we'll set these goals and I don't know how many times I've set goals and yeah, sure I've achieved some, but know that I'm way more capable than anything that I've actually showed up for. So just having the systems in place and it can seem so minute and so small on the day to day, like the check-ins at times probably annoying as heck. Like I do not feel like doing a check-in right now. The last thing I want to do right now is that systemized repeating over and over and over to like hammer in like I set priorities. I do this, I do that. So yeah, to echo that, I love the adoption of systems and I'm working on being more systematic myself.
How do you guys think that systems works in intimate relationships? Um, like, do you think that it would be like a good thing to have like, so like our system in this group is to have like our three check-ins, our check-ins in the morning and check-in at night. If you were to have similar systems in intimate relationships, do you think that it would be good for that to be the container for the relationship, or to leave it more like open-ended?
Yeah, definitely could be, and systems can look a lot of different ways. Something I know that more of a system, and I don't think it got followed greatly, and have readopted that in the recent, but taking when you see someone get triggered, like it's a downward spiral. There's a trigger that occurs and then conflict will start and it starts to whir up. And so I mean, a little off topic, but a friend of mine shared, I can't remember who it was, but there's two people, and as long as one of their heads is above water, you guys can survive.
Mm,
Meaning that if one person can see that the other person's slipping underwater, they can pull them back up. But if both people start to slip underwater, both their heads are underwater, you're fucked. The
yeah,
spiral is done, you're going down. You are now in a completely reactive egoic state that is significantly harder to come back for. But if one person starts to spiral down a little, another person can kind of be like, okay, I see what's happening. Cool. So what we did was, I can't remember what word we used or whatever, but it was like, cool, like let's take a minute to pause. Like right now we're obviously in a fidgety, irritable state to some degree. One of us is triggered, maybe both of us are triggered. Let's stop for a minute and just sit here in silence. Just sit in silence. Let's just like sit here and reflect on our own and like let's question how we're operating, how we're being, what what might we be acting unconscious right now. Like that's a system. So that when you see something comes up, this is what you do. So it's like a protocol. So that's
mm,
something you can adopt too. There's also like, okay, we have a system where every week we do this one thing. Something Garen does. I don't know if who's which of you guys are familiar with him, but a really powerful guy. I would recommend consuming some of his content. Him and his partner have a weekly check-in where they cover like specific topics, and I think they do it on like Sunday before the week gets started, and they cover very specific topics each week. I can't recall exactly what they are. That's a system. So I think there's definitely systems that can be
yeah,
systems and structure that can be involved that would be supportive and not feel too constraining or too rigid or anything that might take away from the flow of love.
yeah. Cool.
Long-winded answer. Max, Logan, love to hear if y'all have anything as well.
Right. And what was the topic of discussion?
Systems. Well, we were talking about
Yes.
systems, and then yeah, I was just curious your guys' thoughts on
Intimate
systems and intimate
relationships.
relationships. Yeah.
Well, I remember I was listening to this podcast, Lewis House, the School of Greatness.
Yeah, I love
And he
Lewis.
said, and what he mentions in his podcast is that, like, oh, with my current fiance, when we first started dating, we started going to, counseling together. And I guess that isn't a system in itself, because you set this appointment to go see this counselor to talk about problems. And then when they first started dating, they didn't have any problems yet. So I guess he was proactively creating a system there for
Mm.
checking in with his partner using that tool.
That's kind of what do you think if you started dating a girl and like before like right off rip you were like, I think we need like couples therapy.
I would absolutely do it.
Yeah.
For real?
I
I
would
would
be like,
be very
I
happy.
know this.
Sorry, Max, I was interrupting. That was rude. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
Oh, I already forgot it.
I apologize. I gotta work on that. I apologize, Max.
That's not good.
Sorry about that. I was gonna say I would be honestly flattered. It would show a level of commitment that I would actually really turn me on. I mean, I
Yeah.
devotion is, I think I'm realizing so much in the recent, like a devoted woman who's like devoted to the relationship, to God, these different things, like that is such a turn on.
Mm.
Rather than having like these fluid thoughts like, oh, I don't know. It's like, no, she's actively like, let's go to therapy. Let's like secure this shit from the start. Like that's amazing.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. I think that would be amazing. And there's a part of me that's like scared of commitment. So I feel like that's like a pretty big commitment, like right off rip. Like, oh, like what if you put all that time and energy in, and then you do realize that? I mean, I guess then you'd be able to communicate that you're going to therapy
Yeah,
together.
you're
So
going to therapy. You'd be able to let her know.
You go to therapy like twice, and then you're like, oh yeah, so I think I realized that
You're
this
not for
isn't gonna
me.
work.
Yeah,
That'd be a good investment then.
I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, early on.
Yeah. You couldn't be down, Logan.
I'm sorry?
I said you couldn't be down, or you could be.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'd have to. For how long into the relationship?
Very first
Um,
date.
Very first date? No, I
like
don't
like
think I
like
would be
like
down with
straight off
that.
Tinder.
Straight off Tinder? No, I don't think I'm.
I don't know.
I
Yeah,
don't
the
think I'm
first
ready for
date
that
is
type of
therapy.
commitment. I don't know if I'd be down with that. But to each their own. To each their own.
Well, what date would be acceptable for you?
Wait, is
Well,
Trevor good?
I like
Okay.
that first set.
Yeah, I was about to say my man froze. What were you
What
saying,
date?
Oh,
Max?
wait, did you hear?
What
Did you hear what I
date?
said or no?
No, I did not hear what you said.
Oh,
What'd you say?
I said straight off the dating app. Like,
Straight off the
Uh,
oh yeah, I did hear that. Yeah. I don't know. That might be too soon for me.
What would be soon enough?
Soon enough for couples therapy?
that might be a new way to slide into girls' DMs.
Be like, hey, you trying to go to therapy together?
They probably haven't been hit with that one before.
I need a new partner for my therapist. You down? I don't even know. Maybe a month. I'd have to get to know the person first for sure.
That's pretty soon.
Yeah,
Month,
it's
2 months.
level of serious. I think it all depends on how serious you are. I mean, with Maya, I waited a month. We hung out like every day, and it took a month before I asked her to be my girlfriend.
For real?
Yeah,
Nice.
like every single day. So I feel like most.
Oh, you asked her every single day?
No, but man, I feel like the most. I feel like that was. I don't know. I don't feel like that was quick. I mean, we're getting way off topic, but I'm curious. What do y'all think is appropriate amount of time once you start hanging out with someone that you would ask them to be your girlfriend, or is it just 100% dependent on each individual?
I
Yeah, I
feel like
feel
I
like
have a
it's-
crazy vetting process. Like
Do you?
I need to see them in like 100 different social settings. I need to
Yeah,
see the way they interact
me too.
around my friends, the way they
Yep.
interact around my family.
I need to go on a road trip with them to see how we
Yo,
vibe on that. There's so many different things that we have to do first that I have to before I establish that actual girlfriend type boundary.
Those
yeah.
sound like really exciting things. Do you put that in your dating profile?
Oh, for sure, of course.
Just saying like, hey, we're going to go on a road trip. I'm going to take you to 100 different social settings.
Yep.
They're
First
like,
date, couples therapy.
Yo.
that's just like 10xing your profile right there.
Hmm.
Gotta take notes, Max.
Take some
Um,
note.
Yeah, but
I
you
know
gotta,
what.
Max, you gotta also, you don't just, that's not right away. You gotta earn the trip and all that stuff.
Yeah,
There's,
yeah,
you
yeah.
got-
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
That's later down the
Yeah.
line.
Yeah, so first then it's like you have to be kind.
yeah.
Pretty we vibe, like she matches the energy. And then like see how what her friends are like. I feel like her friends are a pretty big part of that too. And then whenever she's hanging out around my friends, is she social, outgoing? Is she asking questions? Does she like is she being present? And then like same thing with my family.
Mm.
And then it's like, okay, like cool, like she checks all those boxes. Then like, yeah, let's go on a road trip. And I feel like too, anytime you're on a road trip with somebody, it kind of like brings everything up too. Um, like you're
Hmm.
with one person in like a closed, like enclosed space.
100%.
Even better if 4 hour road trip and you get to see him grumpy.
Yep. Nice and grumpy.
But
I was just tell him right up front, I'll get a little hangry. So as long as
yeah.
I have something to eat, I'll be okay.
Do we want to shift the conversation back towards the book?
Mhm. Were we on chapter 2?
Yeah.
On
Chapter
So yeah,
one.
on chapter one, yeah, what I wrote down was you can always make more money, but you can't make more time. When you trade time for money, you create a ceiling for yourself, and kind of just a reminder that like time is finite and money is renewable. So if we can delegate more tasks, then we get to free up our time to be creative and do the things that really matter most to us.
Right? Like I like hear how he puts it in bold on page 6. The buyback principle. Don't hire to grow your business. Hire
Mm,
to buy back your time.
yeah.
And if there's anything out of this book that we get, it's just that one simple sentence. Don't hire to grow your business, hire to buy back your time. And I like the examples that he gave, about a few of his colleagues that he worked with before. And then how he described Warren Buffett's work style and Oprah Winfrey's work style.
Mm,
And I just loved the fact that Warren Buffett doesn't spend all of his whole day accounting or counting every penny that he earns interest from all of his investments every day.
yeah.
He decides to read. He reads books.
Yep.
Mm,
He spends most of his day reading books. And then Oprah Winfrey, she's like has some kind of like bougie routine where she's like
Yeah.
hanging out with her husband and walking her dogs and
and she
having a
doesn't
cup of
even do work unless it's like signing a paycheck for more than $100,000.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
Yeah.
So it goes to show, like there's like there's that extreme,
Mm,
like to where like, oh shit, like I don't even have to manage all the businesses I own anymore. I'm
yeah.
just running an empire at that
Mm,
point. And I
yeah.
like how he breaks it down from tiers, like where he's like, everyone starts at level 1 where you're trading your time for money. And then you work your way up to say, we're like, well, now I'm going to buy back my time with money. And then finally in the third tier, you're kind of like, you're trading money for money. That's a money generating business for another money generating business or asset.
Yeah, that's the place to be.
So I unpacked a lot right there from the book. But What do you guys think of the buyback principle? Have you guys applied it yet? I know we asked this question before, but maybe we might have something new.
I personally wish I had been more. I was definitely a saver, which has served me well in some capacities, but definitely completely capped out my moving company where it could have been easily a 7-figure business. So I really capped
Why
stuff.
why was it the saver?
Oh, because I saved all my money. I mean, I was growing my net worth, which is great, putting stuff in investments, but it wasn't reinvesting in the business. I was very quick to minimize all my expenditures. Insurance was really one of the only costs. It was like, okay, protect myself. But there was definitely, yeah, like save my money. And I did, and I've been able to live off that over the last year when I've been financially binded. So it served me in some capacity, but also because I wasn't growing, I truly believe that's why things really fell to a complete and utter halt, as well as my lack of passion. But
Do you
I
think
wish
you
I,
hit do you think you hit a pain line? Just like Max, if I had to answer one more phone call today, I would like lose it, you know?
maybe with reliability from team, just like the headaches there, because it just progressively became a bigger challenge.
So you were afraid you'd have to manage more of that.
To a degree, yes, but it was more so I did not want to. It was really a scarcity. It was I did not want to. I just didn't want to make the investments. I was like, I don't want a truck. Okay, so that's probably a pain line. Is like if I got a next level of scale, it would have been like buying trucks, having
Yes.
assets, buying, getting more teams. Then at that point, or investing in marketing. Neither which of those things. It's like okay, I'd seen things not work, and so there's a pain line with the legal, hoops that have to jump through to really scale. So I could say there's a few, but I think ultimately it was the saver energy of not wanting to invest in the business, like completely refusing.
Mm.
The assassin.
Yeah. So things went okay, but I look back and I'm like, fuck, this could have been something. But hey, we're here, we're at. This wouldn't be here if I was still doing that. So
Exactly.
Right? For me, my business, it's just taking on more clients. Just like I'll literally like just ignore people. People will be calling me like, Max, I want you to design my house. And I'm like, I hang up the phone or I won't respond to the email because I'm just like, because I'm like, oh, I just got too much going on. I got too many clients. I don't want to deal with it, and right away. And then the opportunity passes by. So there was a definite pain line for me right there. It's just saying like, I really didn't want to answer one more phone call, or it's just like, I'm sure you guys have been there before.
For
So
sure.
that's a big wake up call for me because I didn't really realize that until I read this part of the book.
that's a great problem to have.
It's,
You have more customers, more demand than you currently have supply. Like you can fix the supply problem pretty easy. I don't know about
But
easy, but
but I'm afraid. I'm afraid I'll have to answer more phone calls. I'm gonna have to. Oh well.
hire someone to answer phone calls for you.
Right.
Buy back your time, Max.
Um,
I would love
well,
that problem in the moving business. Having too many customers, that would
Yeah, me as well.
have been
I'd
fine.
absolutely be
Really?
stacked with for sure.
I would
How
I
many
would figure it
clients? How
out.
many extra clients would it take for you to buy your own truck?
1,000.
1,000? Oh, shit, it's a lot of phone calls.
what about no? I feel like 100, Logan. If you
My
had
own
like,
moving truck?
or oh, how many clients would you need to have to get there? Or like, if like right now, like you just got like flooded, like how many would it be? Like, okay, shoot, like it makes more sense to go out and buy like my own thing versus having to rent the U-Hauls.
Max?
I would personally, I would if it were me
question was
running
for
the
you, Logan.
business.
Oh, that was for me? I thought he was asking Max what he was asking.
No,
No,
Trevor.
I was asking you, Logan.
Oh,
But yeah,
my bad. I
yeah,
thought
yeah.
you were saying what was
But
Max asking me what he meant by. My bad. Can you ask that again?
yeah,
Saying
no, it's
like
all good.
how many extra clients, right, would you need, right? To say like, and you couldn't get to them because you were renting U-Hauls, right? You had to have your own truck. How many extra would you need?
To buy my own truck.
Yes,
1,000.
1,000. Like, how about are we talking about like an accumulation over months, or just like had to be like day one?
If I had 1,000 clients in one day, I'd have bigger problems than a truck. Probably accumulation over months.
But
Okay.
speaking of answering phone calls though, whenever I've been dialing some of these apartment complexes for the furniture assembly company, some of them have an AI robot that'll answer the phone and it sounds just like a human, and it'll talk to you and it'll direct you like whatever you need, and it's programmed to answer the
Mhm.
questions, and
Wait, you
it'll
have an assembly company too?
no. I've been helping Anthony out with the furniture company.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, with Austin Furniture Assembly Pros, yeah. With
Oh,
Anthony's company.
nice. You do the content or what?
No, I've been helping him um partner up with apartment complexes.
Oh,
So yeah,
nice.
calling apartment complexes and getting their phone numbers and sending emails.
Hell yeah.
But Max, if you do have too many phone calls coming in, then you might need a little robot that
Receptionist or yeah, a
oh,
system like that.
yeah, I think it said it was like 37 cents a call or something because I was looking into it. Um yeah.
Right? Let me write that down.
I remember
I,
Trevor
I
said it here.
yeah, I have it in my notes somewhere, so
Said that thing for your Airbnb too, Max. You're gonna have to give him equity.
What is
Oh
it?
boy. Oh boy.
If you give me 1 week, Max, I'm just gonna make my own robot AI, and then you can buy it from me.
Wow, I didn't know you had that specialized skill set.
Oh,
um,
Trevor's got all the skill sets.
there's actually right now a big thing is white label AI. So it's like the coding exists out there. Like if you wanted your own chat GPT, like you could like make your own chat GPT, call it max.ai or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but then it would just be like, how are you going to drive traffic to it, and then how are you going to like turn it like
Mm-hmm.
profitable, because everybody's just going to be using like chat GPT. But
I'll
like
call it Ask Architect.
yeah
Oh, that's a good one.
yeah, but it's all open AI, so
Wait, so that's what people like Claude did? They just put
no,
Claude.
Claude's its own, it's not on open AI.
Uh,
It's like Claude.
All right. We're good conversation. Let's get
way
back.
off top.
Chapter 2, Drip Matrix.
What was it?
Chapter 2, Drip Matrix.
Drip Matrix. Oh, yes.
First thing I had written down, more people enjoy something, the better they perform. So finding
Mhm.
people finding people that enjoy, and I mean, some of that stuff is hard to imagine. You know, like it's hard to imagine somebody wants to move third floor apartments all day, but someone might enjoy it more than you do.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah, that goes into that like production category, right? Where it makes you lots of money but lights you up.
Mm,
Mm-hmm. Where do you guys feel like you're spending most of your time in the Matrix?
In the Drip Matrix. Um, Probably replacement, where it makes you money but drains your energy.
Gotcha.
yeah, me too.
Say I probably spend most of mine investment. Don't make you much money, but at least not today, but they light you up.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Mm.
That's
Hmm.
one of the ones you want to be in, though.
It is to a degree. Definitely want something that's making a lot of money though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I like the best part about this is the 95 and 5 rule that he has. He's like, what's the 5% of the things that you do in your business that only you could do? Right? That will just make your business, like BOGO successful.
Mm. Yeah, and then getting really good at doing that 5%.
Hmm.
No,
This quote, oh,
go ahead, brother. That's all you.
busyness is a form of laziness, lazy thinking, and indiscriminate action. Being busy is not the same as being productive, which is kind of exactly like what we were talking about in the men's group with effective versus productive. Being effective and not just being productive and just getting stuff done, even though you might not even be really getting stuff done. Being in movement.
Sure. Sure. Something I found interesting that was saying that keeps you out of the production quadrant was those two limiting beliefs I was talking about earlier, which was the no one does it right or that I can't afford it. Which and a lot of times in my business, I have that problem a lot where I don't think anybody can do it right or do it like me, so I take care of it myself. Um, so just getting past that limiting belief that, like Trevor was saying, you might have someone who can do the work at 80%, but that 80% is better than your 100%. That way you can spend that 100% towards something else that you enjoy more. That's gonna, help
Yeah.
your business grow and buy back your time.
Right? Like something I didn't realize is that people are expert at things. Like he was talking this example about
Yeah.
data migration. And there's probably a data analyst out there that is an expert at data migration. He'd be happy to do it, and he'd do it in less hours, less time, probably cost the company less money. But you had the limiting belief. I have a limiting belief that that somebody won't do it as well as me, or that I have to train them how to do it.
Yes.
Like I have to figure out how to do it first, so I could tell you, and
Exactly.
completely obliterating the fact that that they're an expert at something.
Mm.
It makes you
Just
think
like
like you realize that people have certain assets that make them an expert or better in that field than you, but it's just you got to give them the chance or find the right person that's an actual expert in that field.
see, like that's just like it's just like when you go at it armed with that knowledge, right? Somebody like saying that I can't afford it, or nobody will do it as good as me. And it's like saying that right there,
Mm.
that there actually is somebody who might be able to do it better than you out
Exactly.
there and be happy to do it and do it in less time. I like that term of phrase, like where you're actually like you're taking a paycheck from somebody else, right? Do something that you don't like to do.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
feel like I do that a lot, you know.
He asked the question, would you want to pay your marketer 100,000 a year to clean your windows?
Oh
No,
yeah, that's
absolutely
right.
not.
Absolutely not.
I think about some of the stuff. It's not as pertainable right now because I'm not at the point, but like when I look back, I'm like, fuck, like the amount of stupid shit because I clean my apartment all the time. I'm OCD. Like I would clean it all the time
Mhm.
and making really good fucking money. And my ass is, how many hours would I clean the apartment in a given week? How many, I think that's something that being nomadic is going to help with too, is like I don't feel the need to spend all that time. Also don't have to pick up all the dog hair. So there's these different things, but it's like
Mm.
so much of my time used to go to shit like that.
Or if you're like paying a maid or
Yeah, and we did that for a while, back in like 2020. And
You'd
honestly,
pay maid?
yeah, we were doing like I think we were paying like $100 a week for a clean.
Hmm.
Oh, yes.
and honestly, it made sense. And then just like the scarcity, like, and it's hard too when the income is not super
Yeah.
consistent. That's really the challenging thing because especially with moving, it's like we'd have really great months in the summer, hitting like some incredible months. Then winter would be like, man, we really that I can clean this shit. We're good.
Yeah.
So that's something that was tough for me to navigate with a lack of consistency. But to step back and look like, okay, this is how much the company's paying me a year. So they talk about what the buyback principle is like, okay, so what is this? What does this mean I should be looking for?
Mm. I think we should all move to Thailand and have a personal
Hell
chef
yeah. Oh,
and
that'd be
have a personal
sick.
maid.
Hmm.
Thailand. You can move to Bali for that for half the price.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead, hop in chapter 3, the 5 time assassins. Right off the bat, love what he just the example he gave about Richard Branson. I don't know how many people I've now shared this with. Like, you realize like Richard Branson has 400 companies, 70,000 employees, not even stressing. Like just
Absolutely
so
disrespectful.
so cool. And to see that like he's sharing that example of his friend who's like $2 million and he's like racking his head and he's so stressed and all that. And it's like Richard Branson just has systems. That's it.
Yeah.
And has obviously a lot of charisma and all kinds of stuff that went into that journey. But like end of the day, like the way that he's able to do this is because he has systems.
Mm.
And people.
That's part of the system.
And people. That is part of the systems.
Sometimes what I like best part of the book is that um you can actually hire people to help you develop systems. It's like you don't
Yeah.
have to be an expert
That
in
is
developing
true.
these systems.
That's
Uh,
that's David Martell's favorite thing though. Or Dan Martell's favorite thing though.
Damn right there.
developing systems, yes.
Yeah.
He's literally like he's the guy who actually runs the company of building systems. Like to say
Yeah.
like, why can't that's probably need to hire him as a consultant or something.
Can't
Just be
wait
like,
around for someone to tell you what to do, or you run out of money and your company dies. I think this goes back to the employee mindset, where if we just, satisfied needs don't motivate, we can just kind of wait around and we can just be going through operations. Ultimately, like we're slowly dying.
Mm.
That's why the weekly goals are like such a powerful thing if we let them be, because it's like, oh, each week, how can I'm not gonna wait
Input.
around for someone to tell me what to do or, wait for some challenge to come up that I then get to solve in a reactive manner. I'm actually gonna take the step each week to push this, even if I don't need it, especially if I don't need it. Like that's the point of it being a Q2 mover, because I'm picking these things that I don't need necessarily right now, but it's just for the sake of more.
Yeah.
So really like that piece.
hmm.
What time assassin do you think you guys fall into the most?
Probably I'd say Staller, where you sabotage your success by, waiting on those big decisions or, not making big decisions because you're either overwhelmed or overthinking stuff. I do that a lot of times.
What's the last example you can think of?
This my thinking of my business name, whether I want to keep my business name or change it. That's why I haven't established my LLC yet. I'm just overthinking my
Mm.
actual name for it.
just wanna give the website a fresh new look, right? Just for the hell of it.
Yep, exactly.
For me, it would be the speed demon, right? Make a rapid decision and like hire the quickest, cheapest option, right? And then end up having to do this whole thing myself again. Right. just like maybe like realizing that the person isn't the right fit or something, or just thinking like, oh, let's just add an extra task, onto this other employee's plate, and like they'll just handle it like they handle everything else, and they don't tack as quickly as you wanted them to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that or it's just thinking like, oh, my cousin Vinny's gonna do this. He's gonna do a great job, not considering all of his bad work history or anything, and kind of like, oh well, how did I, how did I, how did I not foresee this? And you're like, well, I just didn't see the writing on the wall. He's just focused on just what you saw and wanted to do.
Kind of like what we were talking about in not this week's group, but the previous week, where focus on patterns and not potential.
Yes, focus on patterns. It's absolutely right.
Yeah. Um, yeah, for me, I feel like my demons are gonna be stalling, but then once I realize I'm stalling, then I switch into speed demon, and then it becomes like a cycle or a pattern where I could probably like actually envision them like on my shoulders, like laughing at me, like watching me like trying to figure it out, and then like watching me like getting out of stalling and then falling into speed demon and then crashing the car, driving too fast.
Mm.
Hmm.
What about you, Anthony?
I would say in the recent, probably more of a staller.
Mm-mm.
Not even big decisions. In the past couple weeks, I haven't felt this. Past couple weeks, I think I've been pretty on it. But as I shared, like the biggest thing from the past was absolutely the Saber. 100%, like no doubt. Saber was my demon that, again, things were great. Things went really well. Incredible life. However, well below my potential for the reason of the Saber. Um, and honestly, there's a part of me that's like really prideful of like, wow, I got pretty dang far without um without having any true investments. And that's part of why I never really considered myself an entrepreneur for so long. Like I rejected that notion because I was like, it's kind of easy. Like I literally started posting on Nextdoor, and then 6 years later I'm like doing this. Like I didn't really invest money until I had it. And then even then I wasn't spending money unless it was like a very clear and direct ROI. So because there was such like a lack of risk involved, or so it seemed, I rejected the notion of like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur for quite some time.
Mhm.
Hmm, interesting.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I fall into all of these traps. So I can identify a lot of stuff in my life, where I've self-sabotaged, like not answering those phone calls. Speed demon, I told you, Ryan, hiring the wrong people. Supervisor, I micromanage some people in some cases and don't let them do their job because I try to do it for them. And then they have this thing in the book where it's just like people like to put their monkeys on you, right? When you assign them those monkeys, and I have a tendency to take on those monkeys. The saber, like there's a real like ache in my gut when I had to like release, the task of detailing my car to somebody else, to a team, because I knew I needed to spend those few hours somewhere else. And I was like, I did not want to spend that $150 to get the car detailed. But I was telling myself I had to steel myself and say that, hey, this is an investment, so I can spend 5 or 6 hours in the computer today and not focus on being sweaty, or like trying to do 100 other things in the garage, or like that would not serve me right now. So I had to say that to myself. Self-medicator. If I feel overwhelmed, I'll just stop and just want to watch Netflix or a movie, or like go out and get an ice cream or something, rather than do what I'm supposed to do. Like if I that's how I self-medicate. It's a little screen time. So yeah, I fall into all five of those things.
Max, I want to ask, what would happen if you didn't detail your car?
This just get so dirty, and it would like it gets to the point where all the mats get filled with gravel and like and the car like it'll stop shining and like they'll have this like coat of dust on it like you're like every time you touch your fingers on it and like you'll see fingerprint.
Damn, you'd hate to have my car weekly.
um yeah, that, and I'm pretty OCD about like trash being in my car. Like if there's any sort of trash, I'll clean it up right away, you know.
Mm.
But yeah, that's just the way I like to keep my car, and I just found a better way to spend my time. That's the point.
Good.
Nice.
All right, let's go to chapter 4, the only 3 trades that matter.
Let's see what this was.
Your time is either the engine or the anchor of your business.
Mm,
This is where we talked about the energy audit or time and energy audit. Finding people who enjoy the thing that you are drained by.
yep. The Oprah Winfrey, delegate the $10 task so that way you can focus on the $1,000 decisions. Make it to where the only time you have to focus on your business is whenever you're writing the 10,000 or 100,000 to $1 million checks.
It's like I won't be focusing on my business for a while.
Yeah.
Right?
Pretty sure.
This is the chapter where they talk about the 3 trade levels.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that this was kind of interesting. And I like how there was a relevant part in here for me where it says, Andre, you don't need an operations manager. Instead, hire a CAD designer,
Hmm.
right? Not only will that person be less expensive, but you'll get 80% of your time back.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the big hiccups for me is that I don't necessarily like doing CAD all the time. And it probably would help me a lot if I had an extra CAD designer on the team. You know, to be able to offload some of those responsibilities, so I'd be able to focus more on answering those phone calls and engaging with customers.
Oh, I got you, Max. You know I'm an expert CAD designer, brother.
You are?
Well, no, but I've used CAD before.
No, me and my dad, believe it or not, it's just happened by circumstance, but there was a guy with 25 years of experience who
Oh gosh.
walked into our office like right before I started reading this book, and he was like, "Yeah, I need to find a job getting a house in the area." And I saw your guys' sign in the front, and we called a couple of his references, and we hired him. So we're getting him trained up, and he's helping us get through a lot of our CAD design.
Really? Oh, nice. Are you paying them by salary?
Hourly.
Hourly? Okay,
Give
nice.
him a 1099 and everything.
So
Beautiful.
how much time on a weekly basis you think you're gonna get back from having him?
Uh, it depends. Right now, I'm still training him a lot, but he's already helped us tremendously. You know, like work on like 2 or 3 different projects that we not have gotten to yet. So that's helped a lot.
Cool. So you're already lifting up the amount of projects you're able to take on.
That's right.
That's
But-
one.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, yeah, just that continuous coming back to delegating. That being said, what do you guys feel like is the first task you would like, one thing that you really dislike in your business that you'd love to delegate?
One thing that we'd like to delegate in our business.
Yeah.
Accounting.
Right. Or having like a better system for automation of the accounting.
Mm.
I used to work with this civil engineer, and she had this all of her accounting on Intuit. Intuit, I guess, has this all one thing where like you can, where they do your taxes for you, right? But they also clock employees in and out for payroll at the same time, and you're also able to put like your the amount of miles you put for travel versus the amount of miles you do for pleasure for your car. So like all in that one app, you can do a lot of things to it, that one tool. But it's just one of the things that she hated doing accounting. But with the Intuit app, she was able to accomplish all the things that she needed to for her business, right? Without having to sweat all the minute details of putting everything into Excel.
Nice.
So if you don't like accounting, use Intuit.
Intuit QuickBooks.
Yes.
Yeah, I get the apps
QuickBooks.
for it. Yo.
All right, I didn't mean to solve your business problem right away, but
No, yeah.
I just had it in the top of my mind.
Yeah, awesome. No, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I won't charge you equity or on QuickBooks if you don't charge me on the robot
Right.
AI.
Logan,
Yeah.
you want to delegate,
Well, like I was saying earlier,
or other than the work
probably
itself?
mm, not that I can think of now. I'm sure there will be something in the future that I think of. Once the time comes to delegate that, though, for sure. Maybe actually booking the jobs.
Well,
Like talking.
do you even want to do the jobs, Logan, or
I don't want to do the moving jobs, but I'd like to do the assembly jobs. Like I like assembling furniture and I enjoy doing that with my time. Unless it's like an all day thing, then that's like too much of my time taken.
if you
But
were just booking calls, you could be anywhere in the world just booking calls. But if you're doing the furniture and the assembly part, then it requires you to be there, right?
yeah, for sure.
But the assembly is like your passion for getting into the industry.
Yes, sir.
The thing for me is I really don't like doing is checking and responding to emails. And I know the author mentioned having an administrative assistant, but it's like that sheer thought of having one is just like, I'm just not used to it. I'm like, there's this like the one thing in my business that if I could like have someone who'd be able to take my email and answer all the ones that are like generically needed to be answered and just tell me like which ones were most important to answer, like I think I would get like 50 or 60% of my time back in the day or week.
Golly.
And I'm like,
Wow. Well,
I'm like,
Max's time audit from last week just says emails, 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 emails,
Emails,
well,
emails.
it's
phone
not
calls,
just the
emails.
emails. It's like
Yeah.
the tasks that go along with them, like owners like asking questions like, when is this going to be done? Or like, oh, what's the capital of France? You know, like, or something like that.
You'd be getting some wild emails.
Or they'll say like, it's like, oh, Max, they're like, it's just something like if I had like an assistant that knew how to respond, like, is this to do these emails generically, I would be able to. I wouldn't be like spending like 50 or 60% of my day responding to them. Because like clearly that's how I put out fires. It's like the emails come in. And I'm like kind of like, all right, let's just start answering. Let's start with the most recent ones. Let's start going down the list.
Yeah.
And
You
I'm
don't start
like,
with
maybe
the
that's
latest
not
and then go to the most recent. Most recent and then go down. Yeah.
That's not the way I do it. You see how efficient I am. All right. But yeah, that would be one of the things I wish I could delegate because it drains the hell out of me, and I just don't know how to do it yet. It's like I feel like Dan Martell's like if he was speaking to me, he's like, get administrative assistant. And I'm like,
Get administrative.
I'll be
Yeah.
like, no.
Or better yet, don't do it. That's always an option.
No, I can't not do it. It's an integral part.
Timothy Ferris talks about if you have that mindset of like, oh, like what happened, like what does happen if you like don't do it, and then like maybe the worst case scenario isn't as bad as like you think it is. Like,
Yep.
That's
or
true.
but he talks about it like when you go on vacation, where like the very first day on vacation, it's like, oh, like your business is gonna like go up in flames like without you being there to like run the ship, or like you're gonna get like the most like pressing email like ever of
Yep.
like whatever, you know. So it's like you're like, even though you're on vacation, you're still like checking your email, like making sure that like your baby's all good, but then like being able to just like take deep breaths through it. But it is kind of interesting hearing the way that like Max approaches business. And I'm realizing too, like how reading the 4 Hour Work Week at like 17 years old, like changed like my view on like entrepreneurship. Because if I could like delegate everything in my business from the very start, then like I would. But I think that just comes from reading like the 4 Hour Work Week, like at 17 years old, and like him like talking about getting rid of or delegating all the tasks to Indonesia, people in Indonesia or people in the Philippines, and having people do all the work for you for a couple dollars an hour.
You got to take advantage of the
Yeah.
opportunities you have.
It's true.
Yeah.
All right, chapter 5, replacement ladder. If your business depends on you, you don't have a business, you have a job. This has been ringing in my head for I don't know how long since
Wait, repeat that.
Never had
Oh
a
wait, Anthony, you didn't say what part you'd rather delegate off.
my delegating would be anything and everything social media.
Yeah.
And marketing. I mean, and that's why I hired that agency, because that's like the reason I do the social media, like I don't mind doing my stories and stuff throughout the day, like whatever I'm doing, little stuff here and
Yeah.
there. Like making posts, creating reels, all that. Like if I could just take a video or send a bunch of B-roll over to someone and create me some cool content, post it, do all that. Like absolutely without a doubt would love to just offload that. If that's even necessary for the scale with hopefully this marketing agency whenever they finally get back to me.
Yeah. Just to throw it out there, Kendrick started running Instagram ads for his agency 2 days ago, and he has like 20 booked calls, uh, like that. So it's like, I know you've kind of been putting it off like for a little while.
Yeah, at this point, I'm literally just waiting on them to respond because I have my finished VSI
Okay.
on everything, and I think because I waited too long, they basically put me at the bottom of a funnel. And like, this guy's not serious,
Yeah.
even though I paid him. So we'll see. I'm ready to, and I could be more on their ass about it too. So there's definitely that
Yeah.
piece.
Yeah. Is Kendrick running his own ads or he's paying someone else to do his ads?
He's running his own. He just invested in like a big course, and it like teaches you how to do it.
Nice.
But same thing that the people that in the agencies are doing.
Nice.
But
Fantastic.
Okay, so chapter 5, the ladder. This kind of just dives into the things. Max clearly, yours is admin.
Mhm. Right. Sometimes I feel like I'm my dad's personal assistant most of the time. Like all the it's just kind of how it started off, when I first got it from college, it's just I was basically the admin.
Yeah, what if you had a conversation with them and said, "Hey, Dad, I'm not an admin anymore. Can we hire an admin?"
Yeah, just gotta put on my big boy pants and do it.
Yep. Do you enjoy your job, Max? Do you like what you do?
I love what I do. I love the way I engage with the clients, and I like coming up with creative solutions and working with them to fit the puzzle piece, that they need. Right.
Nice.
What I don't like doing is answering emails all day.
Yeah, I can tell that.
And that is gonna be, yeah, that's administrative tasks.
Mhm.
I think I've been talking about AI a lot on this call, but I'm pretty sure that there's an AI too that will organize, like when an email comes in, it'll read it and then it'll put it into a category that you tell it of like important, not important, um, this, and this, and it'll like respond to the email too. And then it'll send you like a text saying like, oh, I responded to this email saying this. Or it'll like write it all up for you and then you just have to like confirm it. Boop.
I was literally thinking about as soon as this call finishes, looking into email AI.
Yeah.
Email AI for what?
I don't know, but just with the talks from Max and the talks from Trevor, so yeah, that'd be especially valuable for you, Max.
I was thinking
AI,
about it for
email.
AFAP too during this call. I was like, oh, like if once the flyers are approved, then it's just like 10 minutes later they get the awesome like whatever the next email is on the list.
Yeah, and follow up over time too, which I think would be valuable.
Oh yeah.
Max, would you say you feel stuck where you're at? That's the feeling it associates with inbox and calendar.
It is. I do feel stuck because I'm stuck answering all these emails all day instead of doing the things I really like to do.
Hmm.
But I don't know how to get over that. I know like you guys are saying like, oh, let's get administrative system or get an AI. But I think it
you know
all
exactly
starts
how
with
to get
step
over that,
one.
Max. I think
I
you know
think
how, you just don't know every single step for the how.
I don't. That's what freaks me out.
Nobody knows every step to the how.
But I think something that new that came up for me during this call was the fact that you guys mentioned that I should tell my dad I don't want to do the I don't want to be the admin anymore. Let's hire an admin. I think that it all needs to start there.
Fantastic.
I
Yeah,
think I tried to do that the other day, but I didn't have that language.
You just gotta set it straight, brother. Gotta make sure he knows exactly what you want from that.
It's
grounded
like I
when you do it as well.
what?
Say grounded and calm when you do it will be key.
Absolutely.
You
I
think you could
asked
already
him.
have a solution in place, or like if you
I
came
asked
to him
him.
like with the full plan? Oh, I just sorry, I didn't mean to
Uh,
interrupt.
I asked him. Do you like check? Do you like doing email? I was like, maybe that's the wrong way to lead into it. He
What
was
is
like, oh, I love. He said, I love email.
I love email.
Then you're like, oh, but then perfect. Then maybe you can respond to the
Yeah,
email.
facts. Why don't you take
Yeah.
my job as admin then?
No, that's what he likes to do too. He spends like literally like 80% of his day responding to emails.
Oh my
You guys
goodness.
both spend
What in
all
the
your
world?
time
How
responding
many
to
emails do y'all
email.
have combined?
That's what I'm
Uh,
saying.
Yeah, all your emails and responses are just like, no, we don't have time for any more jobs.
What in the world?
it's just we just think the solution is just to be more efficient at it. You know, it's just like we got the get shit done mentality over at
The
our office.
GD, the GT,
GSD.
So
GST. Damn, I can't ever get that right. Get shit done. GST, GSD,
PSD.
GSD.
G.
Get shit done. Get GSD. There you go.
It's just like we're just think to ourselves like, oh, more emails came in. Well, we just gotta work hard.
Just gotta respond faster.
yeah.
Click, click, click.
Yeah, Max, I
Absolutely.
feel like your workflow gets into that state like an inside out too when the anxiety has that attack, just running in circles around the monitor.
Yep.
That's literally me.
Sure, for sure.
uh, so yeah, I have to start off with that question and be like, "Hey, Dad, I'm tired of being the admin. You know, doing all these emails. I think it's time we get an admin."
Yeah.
It
What
might be
about the
that time
RV
then.
park lady?
She's definitely helped me a lot in the administrative part. Like before, like I wasn't even doing any architecture work because I was checking email, answering the Airbnb stuff, then going back to checking emails. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm not getting any work done.
Yeah, admin sounds like
So
a
so I told my dad, I was like, hey, like all this Airbnb stuff, I can't get any work done anymore like I used to. And then he was like, oh, we gotta fix that, and we got the perfect girl to help us. She's
Yeah, so
already living here.
what if she took over more responsibilities for the architecture business?
Ah, well, I have to start paying her more.
But yeah,
Yeah. Is
And
that worth
then
more of your time?
and then and then I'm afraid she's not the most competent at admin yet. The stuff that she does now, she already gets stressed out over.
that's fair. That's
And I think if I needed an admin for the architecture office, it'd need to be a lot more fast paced. Someone who knows how to type and use software tools.
that's fair.
An AI robot, bro. It's super fast, like immediately and it's pretty competent too, like the most professional emails you've ever seen.
All right, maybe I just need to open my mind
They
to
might
it.
sound a little robotic, but they'll be professional.
You put it in the coding to sound more human.
Oh yeah.
All
What'd you
right.
call that? White something? White code?
I mean, you don't need the white label, I don't think, Max. But
White
the white
label.
label is to
Oh, no,
sell
you
AI.
you wouldn't need a white label.
Oh,
White label would be like if you were trying to start your own AI business.
I see. No, I'm not. No, I'm not doing that.
I think I'll do that. I think I'll
A
do
little
that.
side hustle, yeah.
That would just be more emails.
I'd be
Yeah.
like, please, get stop.
No.
Wow.
It's like my enemy.
All right, chapter 6, clone yourself. I can't actually relate to this. Sounds like Max just literally sounds like your life and work. Well, most entrepreneurs let their inbox be a public to-do list.
Yeah, that's right. That's me.
I can't relate to that, so I feel like I didn't, but I still see like the value in that. But um, that I just kind of when I read that, I was like, does that actually happen to people? And then I'm hearing Max, I'm like, okay, that actually happens.
Yeah.
Wait, so what was this chapter? What was the basis of this chapter?
Chapter 6 was clone yourself. Most entrepreneurs let their inbox be a public to-do list. An innovative administrative assistant protects company's most valuable asset, the founder's time. Gives examples of things you can offload: responding to emails, scheduling, project research, cleaning up data, updating reports, financial workflows. Your assistants don't have the emotional blockages that you do with certain tasks. They also don't make exceptions and always follow the rules. He gave the example of you clearly set like we don't do projects under 10K, but then you get a 6K project come in and the owner's like, you know
Yeah,
what?
fuck yeah.
Maybe, yeah, we'll do it. And it's the same thing. It's like your feeling comes in at the time. You've set a rule, you have that guideline, that principle you've set, but you're able to make the exception in time. Whereas an assistant is not emotionally attached in either way. It should be like, no, we don't do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
They don't drop the ball, and they also don't let others waste your time. So, yeah, talking a lot about what an administrative assistant would do for you and how that's basically cloning yourself with a lot of these more really simple tasks.
Yeah. Feel like that's what like the biggest part of this book for me, I guess, is to clone myself on the email part.
And I mean, he gave the exact, I don't, you probably need to tailor it to your specific Max, but he gave the exact like steps for like how to implement it and how to organize your inbox and do the labels. Did you find any value?
Yeah. I didn't even want to look at it. I was just so stressed out about emails. I didn't want to read the chapter about how to organize emails. If I just suffer through it.
It's your
Just
big
Look,
like,
it
60
literally says right here, make a rule to yourself. I am no longer ever allowed to touch an email that wasn't first checked by my assistant.
I would love to have that rule.
That'd be a phenomenal role to have.
Max, your dad would have a heart attack if he read that.
You'd be like, what?
Say, but I love email. Uh, yeah, but let's see.
Yeah, it's basically the whole chapter was really
Yeah.
practical stuff for offboarding some of that stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much all of it. But actually,
How do you even? I don't even know how to do an email GPS.
chat
Oh, here
is
it
all
is.
about it.
Specific labels to appear in my inbox. The
Yeah,
name to respond, review. I didn't even do this. Like I wonder, like if I took a course on this, maybe they could show me how to do this.
yeah, but see, I don't know that these labels and everything are gonna help if you're doing it on your own.
Yeah.
Like this is if someone is gonna sort it for you. They basically would be a sorter. So maybe look into the AI like Trevor said, and
Hmm.
over time it'll learn. It might be
Yeah.
that capability by now.
Well, there's the part in the book where it says about hiring people or processes, and he was like, "Well, I can't work with you until I've worked with you." And I think that's with anything, like this. If I had like an AI assistant, and it's just like, "Well, I'm going to work with you, right? But I can't work with you until I work with you first." So it's just seeing like maybe like I could test it out like on a trial run for 2 weeks and see how
Yeah.
well it helps. Versus like hiring somebody from Taiwan or India or versus getting somebody here from the good old USA.
And if you go through an agency, there's a lot of agencies that'll tack on a few bucks per hour to the things, or they'll do like placement fees, and they'll kind of have some like guarantees and coverages for you instead of just like hiring somebody direct.
Interesting. Never heard of that either.
Email fulfillment agencies.
Yeah.
All right, we're a little past time, so we'll jump into the last chapter. This was building playbooks. Actually, Max, you were talking about already implementing some of this. This one was actually really good. Um, chapter. For those who aren't there, uh, building playbooks. Playbooks are basically your standing operating procedures, basically systemizing things in your business. So look at like, okay, when I get a call, Logan, when you get a call, what is like, maybe you have a script and then what do they do after? Do they put it on the calendar or do they set for a follow-up, or like you have like a workflow that every single thing happens. So when you receive a call, X, Y, or Z happens. If Y happens, what's the next step? If X happens, what's the next step? So kind of just having procedures around everything, so that because systems are how you scale. So when somebody comes in, steps in the business, it's like cool. So what you could do is maybe you're not doing that now, but every time you answer the call over the next month, be conscious of the process you're taking and start to like mark that down. And then it talks about the camcorder method, which is where you do a training video of the task that you're completing. Then you do a course, which is basically just like step-by-step process, a cadence, how often you do it, and then a checklist. Seemed a little repetitive, but essentially do a training video and talk about the points and then make a checklist to go along with it.
Yeah, that's
Somebody
fantastic idea.
very easy to
McDonaldizing your
follow.
life.
Max, you had talked about starting the camcorder method and then your dad just scrapped it all. What happened with that?
Well, I wanted to do a camcorder method to draft up proposals. I wanted to enable people to take in clients, right? Either by phone or email, right? And get the project to a point where we can review the proposal, or the architect or myself, as a higher part of the company can review the proposal and then get it off to the client, right? That's basically like offloading that entry part of the uh of the client onboarding process. I wanted to do that. My dad was a little stingy about it. He was like, "Oh, I don't want the employees to know how to type up proposals or draft them."
Why is
And
that?
then and then I don't know. He's afraid they'll start working on their own business.
Hmm.
And then I was like, "Well, you don't really want those people in your business anyway." I told him, and then he went on to say,
Thanks.
um, and then he went on to say, like, "Well, we can write the proposals because like it's an essential part in the business how we make money." And I'm like, And I was like, all right, well, he was like, we're good at proposals. We could do the proposals. And I'm like, all right, well, it sounds like you're really adamant about this. And he was like, I'm the proposals. Oh my god. But he liked the idea of doing the camcorder thing and getting some training videos started. And we got everyone set up with this Snagit program where they can get a recording like this on Zoom and as well as sharing the screen and doing a recording like that. Everyone has that capability now. So I can continue to make playbooks somewhere else in other parts of our business. Like maybe I can do a part in the business where I can show people how to respond and answer emails, right?
Yeah.
Or I
Yeah.
can I think what my dad wanted to do is tell people how to organize our CAD operating software, Chief Architect, how to organize the files so they can get to things and operate it more efficiently. And then coming up with a standard set of drawings and details where we can quickly insert them into the into the software. That way we can make our drawings faster. But where I think, but yeah, those are the couple of things that we made some progress on, and I even got somebody else to take up those roles, somebody else in the business.
Nice.
So
Fantastic.
I guess you could say it was a success, although I still have to execute on them. I don't think he's gotten to it yet, making the camcorder video. So I'll just have to get on top of him.
And what is your what can only you and your dad do?
Engage with clients, in a way that only an architect could. Like offering you like creative designs and feedback, and actually going to the site and interacting with contractors, and them asking things that they're really confused about and answering them. And you're like that. Those are the things that nobody else can do.
And how much of your time is dedicated to that right now?
5%, maybe 10% of that. Like
And
I told you, like most of the time we're responding to emails.
and do you guys have the supply? You said you guys are turning people away or just not answering. If you were to accept all those people, could you have more time? Like, you have the supply to do more of that?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
It's a great problem to have, Max.
Right? That's a good problem to have. But it's also, like I hit that pain line, where I don't want
Yeah.
to answer another email. So I have to balance I have to start delegating that a couple of those tasks somewhere else.
You have to
Or,
buy back your time.
Yeah, let your dad read the book, Max.
Yeah, gift it
Just-
to him.
Just don't show him that emails part. Just rip that page out.
Strip that page out. That's the part he needs to read.
For
Anyway.
sure.
Anyway, but yeah, you guys can tell that's a big bone of contention for me. So I'm gonna continue working on that as the days go on.
Yeah.
You got
that's
this, my
exciting.
boy.
That seems very practical for you. I think you're definitely at a different level of skill than us, and I think that's awesome. So I think this has like a lot of potential. Obviously for us, I think there's future potential. And not
Yeah,
stuff we can implement on right now, but like all this is like extremely practical for you, like immediately. So it's really exciting.
Wish it was that easy to implement. Like when you read it, it's just kind of like, oh, that seems so easy.
Yep.
Actually doing it, it's just kind of like, oh, I have to talk to my business partner and tell him that maybe we shouldn't be checking emails so much.
Yeah.
I can honestly, I can just imagine your dad in my head. Like, I love emails.
I love checking emails.
Just knowing your dad, his personality, like I won't get that in my head for a week.
But yeah, I appreciate you guys, bringing an air of humor to all of this, and
Of
it really
course.
helps.
But and something I want to point out too is you said you had the same like hesitations when Trevor brought up the Airbnb thing. Same
We
exact
did.
thing you're at then, and that's it's turned into a worthwhile I don't know if you'd call it financial or time or but a worthwhile pursuit since.
That's right.
Speaking of, is it still booking out pretty well?
Yes. Although Airbnbers, it's hard to tell when they're going to book out because they like to schedule their vacation, like the 2 days before. They're kind of like, oh, there's so many Airbnbs out there that it's just wait until that day that they're coming. You're like, oh, I need to, I got your place.
How far in advance do you need for a booking? They can book the
One-
day of.
You can set rules, but right now I have it set the 24 hours before.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Like you can be real strict about it. You can say like, well, you need to book 10 days in advance.
Oh, okay. So you can control how far in advance they have to book.
That's right.
Oh,
And you can
fantastic.
also
Okay.
control when they can cancel too. Like you can say, well, if they cancel 3 days before, they only get 50% of the money back versus 10 days, they get all their money back. Right now, I got 24 hours. If you cancel 24 hours before, you get your money back.
Oh, what a nice young man. Thank you.
Well, I made it that flexible. It's like I'm trying to get my stuff out there.
Yeah, your stuff out there, which is good. It's good for reputation.
I'm getting it though.
Yeah.
Getting a lot of good reviews. Huh?
Said you were the person I'd book with in that case.
Right.
Sure.
That says like no refund, no cancellation. I'm like, oh shoot.
Yeah.
Well, you get a refund within 24 hours before check-in. I think I even have it to where like I don't even get the money transferred to my account until 24 hours after you check in.
Mm.
Wow.
Or I think that's the way they always do it, but
Mm.
Also, boys, any other points you guys want to address on the chapter 8? Or I know Logan, Trevor, you guys haven't read it, but any questions based on any of that?
Mm-mm. I have not. I'd have to go over it. Read over it.
Awesome. Any other points on the book at all? Anything from the call? Anything you are looking forward to integrating?
A lot of different things. Definitely a lot of different things.
What's
I
number
don't know.
one?
I can't wait to delegate my entire business and to check
Say
in
a
with my
lot of.
assistant 1 hour a day to make sure everything's running smoothly.
I'm excited to work on those playbooks or those systems, I guess.
Yeah. Cool.
Mm.
I am more inspired than ever to get my marketing agency back in shape because well, I mean they've never actually been in shape. That was because me. That's one of my
Wait,
so I'm excited to uh get engaged. Again, with enough effort, I'm sure I could have already been in contact. So I'm just like, okay, yeah, this needs to get done.
wait, what happened?
So I was supposed to create that homework video, and I literally took me like a month to make it, and they said homework's due in 7 days from your join. And I probably turned it in like 40 days after.
Oh my gosh.
Stuff was just going on, and honestly, I was
Mhm.
making excuses, and
Yeah.
yeah, but I also paid them 3K, so they should respond. um,
Have they not responded yet?
the other day and the lady didn't like get back to me with my ad creative I was like, okay, I want to do this. She said, cool, I'll update it. Never heard back. So but again, I know like I can't blame anybody because I just didn't show up, and I know without a doubt that they're absolutely responding to the people who are making 30K a month because they've shown up, they've put in the work, and they're consistently getting paid. And the fact that, I joined and then immediately like didn't finish all my homework for like 5, 6 weeks. Of course, they're
Yeah.
not going to take me that seriously.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
I can't blame them, really can't. But now I get to show up in a different way and prove that to them.
You got this, brother. That's all you.
It is. I'm excited, especially after reading all this. I'm like, I cannot wait to get to that place of delegation.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
From what I have read and from what I haven't read, I'm excited to incorporate all this stuff into my business.
Yeah, and I'm fortunate because they take care of the marketing piece, but their goal is to help you like immediately as soon as you can, like get somebody who now does the appointment setting and then eventually replace you out of the sales system. And then if you desire to eventually replace you out of fulfillment. I don't know that I entirely want to get out of the fulfillment. Like these calls and this stuff is like what lights me up about the business. But with scale, it might be something that I have to shift, especially if I don't know what the future looks like. Maybe there's like multiple cohorts of men, maybe they're capped out at 10 each. I don't know what it looks like yet, so we'll
Maybe
see.
you clone yourself and you have an AI Anthony that
AI Anthony.
that hops on
Yeah,
these calls and drops sauce.
for sure. Drop the sauce weekly, daily,
The
I don't think that's a thing yet.
hourly.
leadership training I'm in or was in, I mean, they had a brilliant model, and basically the the people who started it, like basically your like you pay to be in leadership training, you go through the training, you are pushed, you are challenged, you have a coach that's like your coach of your group of 6 to 8. And then the group meets, like the whole entire cohort of 150 people meets as like 3 sprints, like 3, 3, and 4 days, and then graduation. And there's like a head trainer, captain, co-captain, like all the way down. I think there was probably like 40 people who were staff for that entire group. And like each person, it was like clear leadership. It was like each person, like there was a coach who was in charge of our group and they were responsible for our results. And then there was the person above them who was responsible for a subsection of coaches. And like it just a very organized structure. Nobody, nobody except the very top one person, the trainer, even gets paid. Everything is volunteer.
Cool.
What in the world?
And they say, because I have some friends who were in the leadership training and then they went on to coach it, and they said you get so much more out of being a coach. Like it's way more powerful. It's way more. Like we had calls that were like literally 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. Like, but there was, we have 10 live days, and some of the days look like that for us. And they said, yeah, we'd start an hour early, finish 2 hours after, because we'd get coaching on it after. So it's
Oh,
intense as hell. And they said like they've enrolled people into the vision that like the way that you create even more because that was transformational for me. You get even more transformation when you become the coach. And what I'm doing in here is I feel like I give a lot of value. I love this. This is great. I also feel that I get a lot and grow a lot and learn a lot about myself by doing all of this. It's not the same structure in any degree, but there's some similarities. And but it's crazy that they have like 40 people who are like that devoted and showing up in that way. And the person up top is the one collecting all the paychecks.
That's freaking.
They're not,
It's a genius business model if I've ever heard of one.
they just check in.
okay.
They're like the Russell Branson. They're just checking in. Oh, cool. Yeah, how's DL 48 going? Cool. Let's do a 15-minute. Yeah, cool. Good. Love to hear it.
Wow.
The other people in there, but they're not getting paid. So that's like the crazy part. And I think to join was anywhere between 2,700 and 5K with over 100 people. And then you're not paying any coaches. Great model.
Wow, that's a fantastic model if I've ever heard of one.
300K per group.
Yeah, I think about 6 groups a year.
That's $1 million business.
That's absurd.
Yeah.
And people walk away and love it. And I think people love it so much, or they hate it. And that's why they do the leadership, like the coaching. That's a different breed though. Like it was really an ass whooping. I can't imagine being one of the coaches. But who knows, one day.
One day.
One day.
It kind of reminds me of the officer training school. It's all volunteer. You're not getting paid to be there, but you're working your ass off, and you're it's just you're earning the right to serve your country, in that capacity, and and it all starts off the same way. It's just like, hey, well, here's the Air Force mission. Here's our motto. Here's our here's our here's how we enable cohesion. You know, uh, all the rank structure and everything. Just goes into place after that. But there's that human component of it that I will never forget. And I think the way Anthony was describing this coaching thing, and I was like, oh man, this sounds just like the U.S. military. And it's like, imagine getting a whole bunch of guys to do shit for free. Oh yeah, I know they know how to do that.
They know how to do that, that's for sure. Goodness gracious.
Awesome, brothers. Had a great time. Definitely more
You
flowy.
as well,
Just a far off conversation. Felt natural. Liked it.
for sure.
Time and hopefully valuable for you guys. Real quick, we'll just circle. Biggest thing you're walking away with. I know we already mentioned some integrations, but like biggest thing you're walking away with, either maybe it's a mindset shift, maybe it's something you're gonna literally do tomorrow. What's coming through for that one thing you got from this call?
I'd say
Clarity.
mine. Oh, go ahead. That's all you.
Yeah, just clarity towards having awareness of what the next steps as my business continues to scale, what they are and how to go about it. And just like having the blueprint and knowing what it is instead of kind of just like kind of knowing what it is in the back of your head, but like and not really being like right there in the forefront of your mind.
For me,
Fantastic.
it would be telling my dad, or sucking up enough courage to tell my dad I don't want to be the admin for the business anymore. I think it's time we hire an admin.
Nice.
Let's go.
Beautiful. That's all you, Max. You got this.
Proud of you, brother.
Manifest.
I need a new job. I'll come back to you guys.
Manifest. It's gonna be easy.
Perfect.
It's gonna be
Max.
easy.
It's gonna
I'm
be
gonna do
easy
this.
peasy.
It's gonna be the best moment of my life.
It's gonna be cake. Don't even sweat it. I'd say for me, just not hiring to grow my business, but hiring to buy back my time. Just installing that principle into my mind and just creating systems versus goals. Because a lot of times I just put, goals in the air, just like, our groups, which, goals are fantastic to have, but also creating systems to back up those goals.
Nice.
Yeah.
And speaking of goals, make sure you guys all go put on the tracker no one's put in yet.
Yes.
Oh, I was gonna say, where is this tracker? I could not find it.
It's on Telegram. The link's there.
Oh,
So something I didn't mention yesterday, Telegram.
I was looking on Mighty. That's my bad.
Yeah, everything on Telegram now. So I made an announcements section. So that's just where I'll put stuff after calls or when I need to share something. Don't post in there. And then we have the member chat, which is that and Pages of Power where you guys will post. But the announcements is just like one way. I'll just broadcast when I need to get you guys information. So
I just clicked this document. Oh, wait, everybody else has put it in.
look at the date.
Oh. What's the date? 9 dash. So this is 9-16?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So, yeah, just go in there, put it in there. Remember, SMART goals, measurable, specific, all that. What I'm walking away with, one, talk to that team for sure. Literally right after this, I'm gonna send a clear cut message like, hey, we need to get this rolling. So I'll do two. Second one is just like systems. It's like, where can I systemize? Where can I systemize? Where can I make this not just a one-off thing, but something that is rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So that there's an opportunity for scale, because that is the only way to scale. And it talks about that too, the mom and pop shop, like that's why they never get bigger. I think some they like that. Cool. However, if you have a gift for the world and there's an opportunity to both scale and create like radical personal freedom and also radical like impact in other people's lives, then there's no reason you shouldn't, other than a lack of know-how and fear. That being said, boys, had a great call. Love you boys. Let me know if you need
A
anything.
phenomenal call, brother. Thank y'all. Much love.
Much love, brothers.
Sir, well, I can't remember what the next date is. I'll update all the links on Mighty so we won't have that problem again. Not sure what the next call is. Last thing, promise. I have the book set for next month. Max, I know you already got the book. I'll refund you if you need, or you can ship it back if this answer's in the way. So the
Oh,
book that I said was No Bad Parts, which is about
yes.
family systems. But another book I've been recommended several times is called Super Attractor. I'll send out a poll if you guys want. Super Attractor is about just kind of like what it sounds like manifestation and like truly attracting things. So I'll send a link, but if any of you guys have a thought off those two things, one of them's like inside internal healing work, and the other one's more like manifesting and calling in like your deepest desires.
Cool.
Fantastic.
Either one connecting with any offer more or less, or not?
Manifesting sounds better to me.
Okay.
Sorry, I missed what you said. I was putting my goal in. Can you repeat that?
Okay. Super attracting is all about manifesting your deepest desires, becoming the person of your desires. It's all about attracting. The other book is No Bad Parts, which is internal family systems, which is like internal healing and like kind of therapeutic work with yourself.
I don't think that interests me, but the first one would.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right, boys. Well, you guys have a good evening. And I will talk to you soon.
Okay, you as well, brother.
All
We'll
right.
see y'all later, guys.
Love you,
Adios.
brothers.
Hey, brothers.
Love y'all too.
Wait. I need to talk to Anthony real fast.